Hi, everybody. We've heard this before. There's dignity in labor. Welcome to another episode of the African Businesswoman podcast. I am your host, Lovelyn Bassi. Let's talk about this term, this phrase that we say. People have said it. Like growing up, I've heard it, especially in the African community where I come from. And some would argue that you'd find it in the holy books, and whether it's passed down from generation to generation. Honestly, I don't know where this thing really comes from. It could be from the Bible, it could just be an African saying, it could just be a saying. But the saying is that there is dignity in labor. And what does that actually mean? It means that no matter what it is that you're doing with the works of your hands, the business you're doing, your job, whether it's manual, whether it's physical, you're carrying stuff from here to there and maybe heavy or not, whether it's intellectual, you're a researcher, whether it's professional, a business, whatever it is, it deserves respect and it deserves honor, definitely. And you've heard, as you hear me talk about this phrase, you didn't hear me say whether it's a man or a woman thing. No. Whenever the phrase is used, it should be used without or devoid of gender. But sometimes you find it being used in the African society amongst men when they're trying to tell men, you gotta be a man, you have to provide for your family. And when the man is not working, they tell him, well, there's dignity in labor, so you have to go out there and labor. And then when it comes to women, it's almost like this terminology it may or may not apply, because you find situations where women are in business, and if let's talk about petty trade, and I know I used it in one of the previous podcasts, but the petty traders seem to be the ones that are picked on the most by their partners, spouses, whatever you want to call them, because they look at them and look down on what it is that they do. So women who go out every day with a tray of granite peanuts on their heads, and they go out and they sell that, and the money they come back with might be nothing compared to whatever the man has earned for that day. And for some reason, the dignity in labor is applied to the man, and the woman who walked around the whole day and was on her feet the whole day, selling that granite, that peanut, trying to make the most of that business. There is no dignity in that labor. Now, you're wondering why I'm saying that, even though it should apply. I'll give you an example. I've had a story from a woman who says, I sell, I sell on the street. I sell goods on the streets. It's fruits. I'm not talking about, prostitution or anything like that. I'm talking about selling fruits. She sells fruits. And when she gets home, occasionally her husband says to her, well, you still need to, where's my food? You haven't cooked, you haven't done anything. I came back, I got here before you, and my food is not ready. And in some cases he actually hits her. Sometimes she gets home, she has to help her kids clean them up. She didn't go to school, so she can't really help them with their homework, but she tells them, go do your homework. And then she gets about the business of cooking. Yes, she has a housekeeper that helps her, but in their household, her husband requires her to do the cooking from scratch. So she has to prepare the ingredients, everything, and then still cook the food. And then she has to serve him. And he goes further that she must eat with him. Now she's probably at that point she's falling over herself, tired. But maybe she then says, in some cases, she then says to him, oh, listen, I'm tired. I can't make all of this other stuff that you want to eat. I'm going to just make this because it's quick. And he says, what is making you tired? Is it that small thing that you do? How much did you even make for me today? It's nothing to write home about. It can't even buy bread and milk. So what is it that you did that you're telling me that you're tired? It's almost as if you're saying that there is no dignity in that label. It's not almost as if, it is what is being said to her. So her business is being torn down, her business is being looked down on. And I'm going to go past who she's married to. Let's even look at the African society as a whole. You and those of us who ride in cars and we buy things from street sellers, and they're women. Sometimes we should really just park the car on the road. That extra 5, 10 minutes you're going to spend without that woman having to chase down your car to sell something to you, the world is not going to end. If you want to buy the orange, freaking park your car on the side of the road and buy from her. Like, we have to be conscious of not stripping people of their dignity because they do something that we find lesser than what we do. The way that we business the way that we well, like I don't want to use higher class, but the way that we businesswomen that have had more opportunities, better opportunities, and are doing more business, or let's call it a medium to bigger size business, whatever you want to call it, but we are on a higher level than those that are selling on the street because of opportunity, time, and just God's grace and all of that. Not saying that those people on this selling on the streets don't have the grace of God, but n- not all fingers are equal. But those of us that have had better opportunities, we have to be careful that we don't look down on those who are less fortunate than us. Because as much as we see ourselves as African businesswomen, those of us that are, up there, it's the same thing. Those that are down there, they are also businesswomen. What are we all trying to do? Yes, apart from our larger purpose, apart from our larger, higher purpose and vision, at the end of the day, we are trying to just do our business. We're trying to be profitable. We're trying to break even. And that woman is trying to do the same. Just because we had a tougher day, or a tough day, we don't know how tough their day was. Have you ever stopped to ask that African businesswoman who is carrying a tray of tomatoes on her head where she came from to that place she is selling the tomatoes? How far she had to walk to get there? So if you just look at the circumstance, perhaps you would have a bit more appreciation for the effort that they are putting in. Yes, some of us, it's a lot of intellectual work, it's a lot of computer work, it's a lot of technology work. We are, we are using technology to build our business. We have better opportunities than them. We don't have to do physical labor most of the time, but we have to do a lot of intellectual labor. We have to think, we have to plan, we have to strategize, all of this stuff, and they're all good stuff. But it doesn't mean that because we are on that level, then we look down on the other African businesswomen who are doing petty trade, who are doing smaller businesses, who are selling provisions. They're selling roasted corn by the side of the street. They're selling used clothes. They are still businesswomen. And if we look at what they are going through and what they have had to go through, you find that everybody has their own struggles. So, in the case of this woman that I was speaking about earlier, where she even gets hit at home, she gets physically abused. And of course, after all of this abuse, both verbal and physically, she is expected to, just get on with the business of the night with her husband and all of that, regardless of what her day has been like, what he has said or done to her earlier. She must just fulfill her marital obligations. In fact, I've been told that this thing is a covenant. So it's not about how you feel, it's about the covenant. So when it's asked for, you must just do it. But it shouldn't be that way. This woman has worked just as hard, even possibly harder than the guy throughout the day. So why is she not being given the same dignity for her work? Why is she not getting the same level of recognition? Is it just because she is female? Is it okay to say that a woman should not get the same recognition as a man, should not get the same consideration as a man, should not get the same acknowledgement as a man, simply because somebody said that donkey years ago? The fact that people use the terminology that women are the weaker sex or the weaker gender connotes it carries a lot of different kinds of things with it. Yes, we are physically weaker than most men. Now, I'm not talking about the woman who is training, or the one who is doing CrossFit, who is doing all of this stuff, and she can take down a guy. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the average woman, The average woman, the average man is stronger than the average woman, but it's the physical thing. It doesn't mean the average man is intellectually better than the average woman, you see. So all of us need to be recognized and acknowledged and given that dignity, afforded, that opportunity, given that recognition for the work that we do. Because guess what? There is dignity in it. Nobody should be looked down on. The money that you bring to your household should matter. Whether it is $1, whether it is 50 cents, whether it is $500, whether it is $1,000, it should matter. One of the reasons that I am so moved to push and encourage for women to make more money is because money talks. This is the society that we live in, and the more money a woman has, definitely the more her voice is listened to in her household in Africa. And I'm guessing it's the same thing around the world, depending on the kind of household that they live in. But in Africa, it could also be a double-edged sword, because the more money that you make, that could also work against you. There are other things that come to play, and we're not going to talk about that today. We're going to focus on this dignity in labor thing. So whether she's a teacher, whether whether she's doing petty trade, no matter what it is she does, whether she's a doctor that owns her own practice, whether she's an Uber driver, whether she's a seamstress, whether she owns her own grocery store, whether she is a hairdresser, whether she's a makeup artist, no matter what she is doing, as long as she is doing something, there is dignity in it. Maybe she's a chef, maybe she cooked. We have to give her the same acknowledgement. We have to give her the same value. We have to recognize the work that she has put in. We should not downplay it. We should not say to her, and especially at home, she should not be told, well, that's small money you're making. What is it going to do? That money you're making, who is it for? Well, we don't need it. It's small change. It's nothing. It does nothing. No, it doesn't do nothing, because that money can buy bread, that money can buy milk, no matter how small it is, that money can buy petrol. So the phrase that there is dignity in labor is applicable to everyone, male and female alike. And it's this notion of men being the provider, and I'm not saying that it's a wrong thing, because there's a cultural thing that comes with it. There's this whole thing that men have been taught to be providers, but guess what? This is 2025. Women are also providers, and because women are also providers, we should also get the same recognition for that, for the work that we do. It shouldn't just be one-sided. One person should not be glorified over and above the other person. If I am going out there and working and you are going out there and working, when we come back home, everybody should recognize, oh, we've all been out there hustling and doing what we needed to do to push this household. And because we say, oh, well done, well done. How was your day? Oh, wow. Oh, you only made $1 today. Oh, well, it's all going to be okay. Don't worry. I made $100 today. Yes, it's more money than you did, but you know what? Our efforts are equal. We went out there, we did it. Bravo to the both of us. Now let's get on with the business of the home. And I'm saying this in a case where there is a couple and all of that. But where the woman is single, and I want to address the single businesswoman in the same thing. Yes, there's dignity in her labor, but I also recognize the fact that business women who are single, sometimes they are stigmatized that it's because they are doing so well in business that they cannot get married. Sometimes they are just doing even a petty trade, and they are told, well, because you are working and you're doing a business, that's why you're not getting married. That is so not true. And it's so unfair to use something that is bringing somebody dignity, something that is taking care of their livelihood, as an insult against them. So whether the woman is single, whether she is married, there's dignity in her labor. That dignity should not be trampled upon. That labor, that work that she is doing should not be used against her as a tool for punishment, should not be used against her as a tool for ridicule, not by her parents, not by her family member, not by men in her family, not by her husband, not by her partner. Okay, because once again, I am going to keep repeating this. There is dignity in labor. So, every woman listening to this, I want you to understand me and I want you to hear me. It doesn't matter what anybody else says to you. I want you to always remember my voice saying to you that there is dignity in labor. You are enough. What you are doing is enough. What you are doing is more than enough. You're putting in your best. You're going out there, you're doing your thing. You're not just sitting down and taking it as it comes, but you are actually fighting for your business. You are fighting for your future. You are fighting for your children. It doesn't matter whether what you're doing is physical. Maybe you're carrying load in the market on your head and they pay you for that. That is great. You are amazing. You are amazing. You are valuable. The work that you do is valuable. The work that you are doing, no matter what it is that you are selling, no matter the business that you are in, it feeds into the African economy. It feeds into your local economy, no matter what anybody tells you. Your business matters. That money that you are getting from what you are selling and the money that the money that is circulating, that's going around and you're turning it around, that is moving the economy of your society. It is moving the economy of your province, of your state, of your country. So don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Don't let anybody tear you down. Don't let anybody look down on you. What matters the most is that you are honest and that your work contributes to society. And this is me telling you that orange you are selling contributes to society, because also if it is feeding your children and if it is feeding your family or feeding you and putting clothes on you, you are not making your family a liability to society. You are taking care of business. You are taking care of business of the home. You're taking care of business of the person. Listen, there is dignity in what you are doing. Okay. So look at yourself in the mirror, encourage yourself, know that yes, what you are doing might be a humble job, humble business. They call some things humble. I'm not sure it's used rightly sometimes, but they call it humble. But well done. If nobody tells you well done, I am telling you, well done. If you are selling hair, I am telling you, well done. If you're doing makeup, I am telling you, well done. Whatever business you are doing, I, Lovely Mbasi, I am saying to you, and the entire African businesswomen community is saying to you, well done. Because you know what you're doing for yourself. You are giving yourself dignity. You are lifting yourself up. You refuse to let anybody put you down. Now, if somebody has already talked you out of doing that business and it's something that you really want to do, find a way to do it. Okay, find a way that is safe, that works, that gives you dignity. Find a way to do it. All right. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. Make sure to share it. We all need motivation every now and again. That other businesswoman that you know might just be what she needs to hear to push her business continually, to move it to the next level, to just get up tomorrow and just keep doing it. Whether she's single or married, this might just be what she needs. So don't be shy to share this. We want to have more and more listeners subscribe to our podcast. We want to reach as many African businesswomen around the world, around the African continent. We want to uplift them. And by the time we create this huge movement in society, we will be all the better for it. Lots of love from me. And this has been the African Businesswoman Podcast. Thank you. God bless you. I'm Lovely Mbasi. Bye.